Today we are going to talk about the yoga philosophy. Yoga philosophy, as part of Eastern philosophy, the Indian philosophy, it's almost the Vedic period, unpredictable, undetermined, but for academic purpose, for theoretical purpose, we say it's 4000 BC or before that. Hiranyagarbha is the philosopher who spoke about yoga philosophy. But what we have, an authentic information, is from sage Patanjali, written probably 150 BC, which has got 195 verses in 4 chapters, called Yoga Sutra. The Yoga Sutra is the authentic philosophical book on Yoga Shastra. Sage Patanjali is considered as the incarnation of Adi Shesha. Shesha is the snake. Snake represents disease. The Rahu in astrology represents diseases. What is the main sloka? One definition of yoga which comes to us when we talk about yoga or talk about Patanjali or talk about Yoga Sutra. It is Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Yoga is restraint of all the activities of the mind, silencing the mind, because most of the time the mind is violent. So how do you make your mind, violent mind, into silent? That is what yoga does. When I spoke about Bhagavad Gita, in the introduction I said Gita is the capsuled techniques which is described in the form of a drama or an art, where Lord Krishna have the violent minded Arjuna in front of him, whose violent mind has been made into silent. So from Arjuna's Vishada Yoga, Vishadam is with a lot of diseases in the mind. From that mind, Lord Krishna takes Arjuna through 18 chapters through a counseling technique to the meditative level, the self-realization level. Action in meditation, not meditation without action. So the yoga is the skillfulness in action. That means you do it so silently, your brain doesn't work. The EEG, electroencephalograph, doesn't act. So the evenness, the confusion of the mind is in tranquilence, in silence, in blissfulness. That happens when you have got a self-realization. So the yoga definition is the stillness of the mind, the ultimate reality, understand the world is not in Maya, understand the reality from the Maya world, and when our thoughts are calm, the nature is understood. As the nature has got a triangulity, our mind also gets into a self-realization in the triangular style. The triangulity and the peace of mind and the self-realization is what is accepted. At that level, you don't have the buddhi, manas, ahangara is not there, because the chitta vritti is what is under control. What is chit? Chit is the human mind, the basic aspect. Vritti is the 3 vrittis, that is in terms of manas, buddhi and ahangara. The consciousness, ego, intelligence, everything. So the chitta vritti is nirodha. It is kept in silence. So you get into a meditative state. So that is the basic concept of Yoga Shastra. The yoga philosophy is to keep people out of what comes out of chitta is the chinta, thinking, worrying, all that will go. So derived from the chit is the word chinta. Chinta is thinking. Chinta is worry. Chinta is a activity which conflicts between the manas and the buddhi, that is to be made into a tranquility equal status, so union. One is the concept of Brahma, Hridaya, Guhara, Madhye, Kevalam, Brahma Matram. So inside your Hridaya there is a Brahma that is highly creative, simple, nature, normal human nature. But we have got another natures also, like Rakshasa nature, and you have got a Sattvic Tamasic nature. This nature has to be in balance. Getting into balance is what is the philosophy of yoga. Understand the universe, understand the reality, understand the nature, understand the Prakriti, understand the Purusha, understand the fundamental substance which changes the Prakriti, understand the matter that is existing in the universe which influences us, and filter it out to understand what is to be taken, what is not to be taken, the Viveka Buddhi. Okay, so that level wherein you grow, and every activity which you do comes under that control, is what is called Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Patanjali has clearly explained this. The eternal Prakriti have got different gunas. So what are the different manas, or the guna of the qualities of the manas which makes us to react and use energy and the consciousness which comes out into the form of actions? Three different gunas. One is tamas, which is the darkness totally, and rajas, which is full of activity, and sattva is the beingness, what you are supposed to be. Okay, so the sattva, raja and tama, the three gunas. Purity and knowledge is what is sattva. The action and passion is what is called raja, and ignorance and inertia of doing things, that is called tama. So these gunas, when you call it as, you call it a sattvic guna, rajasic guna, and tamasic guna. So the service of the society without any expectation, without any recognition, no reward, which is done as a service, comes from the sattvic activity. Where you have a passion for action, where your personal gain, growth, achievement is what is seen in the rajasic part. Okay, what happens, I don't care, that sort of feeling is there for people. They only worried about the present happiness. So no problem what is stepping into the activity of others also, I don't care, but I want to be happy. So they harm the society because they do anything for their happiness without caring the happiness of others. That is called tamoguna. So these are the three gunas. So if you look at the vibrations that makes, or the stableness or unstableness which I've got, from the tamoguna you go to rajoguna, from the rajoguna you go to sattviguna. See, if you look at Ramayana, the tamoguna and rajoguna and the sattviguna, the Rama brought out the help, or took the help of the rajaguna monkeys for getting into the tamoguna at Lanka. Got it? So this is a wonderful explanation of the three gunas in our epic. How these raja and tamoguna, sattvic guna, there is no element of the cosmic elements and the five elements which we generally talk about, earth, water, fire, air, or ether, is not influential, or they have no elements, or they have no roles. But when it comes to the rajasic and the tamasic guna, all these are highly influential. So that means our indriyas are susceptible to what is around us. The prakriti is more influential, not the purusha by yourself. The stability and the tranquility of the mind is generally disturbed by not the external but the internal. But what gets into the internal is the process of the sensory experience of what is outside. So you reach from the subtle level a sense of perception from the external world. So that is more like the stability and the tranquility of the mind depends on how the internal kriya happens inside you. Okay, this is exactly what is explained in the Yoga Sutra. You can look at the verses from 134 to 139. Understand it, or we will use it to explain it thoroughly later part of our. Okay, so this describes about the pravritti aspect of and the sthiti aspect of the life. The pravritti aspect is the action oriented aspect. From you, how do you calm down, controlling your breath and focus on what you are doing to prevent the mind from wandering around the external world. How do you control it? Through the breathing practices, through the yoga practices. So when you come to yoga, now we will come slowly to the practices which you have to do it to get into the yoga. So that you can control your manas, so that you can understand the reality in the true sense without getting disrupted by the sensory organs from the elements which are around. So focus your attention, getting concentrated. He needs to look up on what is bringing you the best out of you. What brings best out of you? That is what is to be seen. So once you get the best out of you, then we can describe what are the importance of or the benefits of yoga. The perfect equilibrium, reaching up to the spiritual level, the harmony, the mind, soul, body together. That togetherness is what is meant by yoga. The union, togetherness, joining, combining is the word meaning of yoga. So yoga is not the physical exercise. It is not the body postures, but it is the union of the spiritual development which makes the union of the soul, mind and the body. Therefore there are no conflicts. Therefore what do you get? You get a self-healing, the fit and become healthy, the negative blocks from your mind will go, no toxins in the body will be generated because of the activities which happens in the manas. Therefore your unwanted food habits will go. Therefore you will not have no obesity. You have a personal power which will come into, and therefore you will become fit to become self-aware, attain the concentration, get into what you want to learn. Your intellect will become very good, physical nature will become very good, stress free, and the tension will not be there. You will become peace and relaxed. You will become healthy. Keep correct postures of body so that you will not become upset with your small pains here and there. The physical purity will be there, intellectual purity will be there, manas will become clean, the prevention from diseases will happen, the mental tension will go, beauty will come to your body because the manas is always beautiful. As you wake up, you will become beautiful like a small child. You will become active. You can increase your flexibility. You will get adjusted to any situation what you want. Blood flow will increase in your body, and your focus and concentration will become good. The body will come clean, and you get a good sleep. The moral, ethical values will become good because you have got a physical strength, and the manas is also very strong. These are all different, but how do you get into this? All these physical, mental, emotional, intellectual, social, spiritual awareness and development. There are different kinds of different paths, different ultimate reality to understand what are the methods is what is described the different kind of yoga which you can do. You cannot attain everything at a stretch. So first is action, then devotion, then knowledge, and the normal path of yoga, which we call it as Raja Yoga. Knowledge path is called Jnana Yoga. Bhakti is called the devotion path. Karma is called the action path. Okay, the Hatha Yoga is the physical portion of the yoga. Where do you do all the actions and the exercises which are. So the paths of yoga are mainly these, but you can look at it from different angle. Slightly more explaining the devotional bhakti yoga into more creative, active oriented, and internal purification can be of different style. So generally the 8 yoga paths are explained as Hatha Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, and Tantra Yoga, Raja Yoga, Kriya Yoga, and Kundalini Yoga. We will not go into the details of this for want of time now, because our focus is on the philosophy of yoga. In Yoga Sutra, what is done? The Yoga Sutra, the Hatha Yoga, and the rest of the yoga, 8 steps, the Ashtanga Yoga concept is what is being explained. It is not just the Hatha Yoga alone. Understand, When you talk about the Bhagavad Gita, there are different yogas. Yoga Sutra, there are different yogas. So not the physical exercise alone should be understood as the yoga practice, which is so famous today and so confusing for people. Okay, understand yoga as a philosophy and understand where the physical yoga, the Hatha yoga, and stands where the Raja yoga stands. So yoga means being with one, be one, joining, linking to the ultimate, the supreme, get connected to the self. The self, inside self, becomes the supreme power. Get connected to yourself, therefore to the supreme power, which is called the God, probably. That is what is being explained by the yoga. The ultimate is the universe. Ultimate is the moksha. Ultimate is the liberation. So when you as a small individual get into the expanded universe or get into your inner self, the yoga philosophy is sanctified. It has got its main purpose served and solved. So it is understand that there are a lot of things which are influencing outside external, which is Maya, which is illusion, and get into the self to understand what is that we should get concentrated more on. Okay, so the action leading to the binding of or the bondage against all the influences of the external sources. So get close to your indriya, which filters out things and understand what is exactly required for you. So you get liberated from the false feelings under indriyas. So there are a lot of things which can be explained regarding indriya and the different aspects of it, that we will suspend it for now. The aims of liberation, what you can do and how can you do. And liberation is not from the action, not from your responsibility. Understand, liberate from the attachment what you get connected to that, so that you become a laborer or you become surrender to that. No, you make yourself surrender to the ultimate happiness, the lasting happiness, not the temporary happiness. So the aim of yoga is liberation from the pain and sufferings, liberation from the state of normal C2 and enlightenment, achievement and universal self. Get rid of the Maya paths. So there are 4 different paths. One is Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga and Raja Yoga. These are the main ones. One is of action, Karma Yoga is action, Bhakti Yoga is devotion. Anything which you do. When I speak to you now, I am doing it with the devotion. And it comes with my wisdom, the Jnana Yoga. And devotion is my attachment to that, my ultimate path to God. My creation is the purpose of my creation is understood, so that I am doing it. So it's with the devotion to the ultimate. And Raja Yoga is the physical mental control, which is more of a philosophical path. So sensory organs have to be controlled, the emotional and the higher, the intellectual thought, move it towards to a get higher spiritual, move it to a higher social. So what are the ones steps towards this? From a self individual, getting into that, into the inner core self, getting into internal from an external. So what are the external things which people understand, influence, get into that is a discipline, a moral discipline, a woe, a restraint, a social discipline. So Yama is a social discipline. One great personality who reached into Yama is with the social discipline called non-violence. That is Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi touched the first step under the 8 Ashtanga Yoga, 8 steps of yoga, 8 limbs of yoga, 8 parts of yoga. One external portion where he stepped was only the Yama plus Niyama. Niyama was an individual discipline which you will not be able to understand that easily. But your behavior will tell you, your observance will tell you, the positivity in your duty will tell you how Niyama you have. But he was very strong in the Yama part, non-violence part, and he became very famous. You can understand therefore when you get into all the 8 steps how great a person could become. So the last step is Samadhi. That is an internal one, self-realization, bliss, enlightenment, where you are not bothered about the external. How do you reach there? Yama is one, second one is niyama, self-discipline, individual discipline, and third one is the body posture. That is where we do the asana, and that asana is today called as yogasana, which is mostly misused word probably, or misinterpreted, misconceptualized, misunderstood, not elaborately studied by people. So the body posture, which is a meditative, relaxing, cultural status of your physical body, which is essential, but that is not the ultimate. And the next one is pranayama. I wonder sometimes somebody says no, that you can reach meditation in 10 minutes and you can learn asanas in 3 years. So how do you get into a meditation process without going into the steps of yama, niyama, asana, third step, pranayama, the breathing regulation techniques? Clearly it says pranayamena yuktena sarvaroga samara. All the best practices of pranayama, you can control your disease or you can get rid of diseases. Ayuktabhyasa yogena sarvaroga samudbhavaha. You do it in a wrong sense, you can get all the diseases also. So it is very much essential to understand the steps of pranayama. Pranayama is a health controlling mechanism or health conscious activity which you are supposed to do very carefully. Okay. Then pratyahara. How do you withdraw the sensory organs and get an abstraction inside you so that you are not influenced by the external world around you, the materialistic world around you? And then the rest of the three which you have got: dharana, dhyana, samadhi. Dhyana is the meditative level, dharana is the focused concentration, and samadhi is what you will attain. It is not a step, it is what is to be attained, a self-realization. So these three steps, dharana, dhyana, samadhi, is an internal activity which you are supposed to do it without even getting into that. How do you get into that? There are basic activities which happens in your manas, body, and different layers of the body. One is physical, one is emotional, one is intellectual, one is the Ananda kosha. So there are different koshas. One is the Annamaya kosha, Pranamaya kosha, Manonmaya kosha, Vijnanamaya kosha, and the Anandamaya kosha. Controlling these and the hubs which influences or the concentrated centers of this. These are to be understood as the human anatomy of your body in the yoga philosophy concept, which need to be understood as different bodies. One is the physical body, okay, Annamaya kosha, and the another one is the sensory sensational aspects, the Pranamaya kosha. Okay, in the Pranamaya kosha you have got the next one is the astral body, which has got an Manonmaya kosha, which has got thoughts and emotions. Vijnanamaya kosha is where the decision making happens. Your ego, the residence of the ego is at that place. The sheath of prana, sheath of food, the sheath of mental and sheath of intellectual, everything is explained. Then the ultimate is the casual body, which is the bliss sheath, which is called the Anandamaya kosha. So the ultimate is what is externally. So understand, yoga is not an activity which is to be done like a dance or a gym, or it is not a studio performance or a public performance on the field, on the playing ground or the cricket stadium. It is not a monkey business which people can be practiced at any point of time.
There are a lot of philosophy which is to be understood very clearly. Getting into yoga is an ultimate rule or the role or the aim or getting into such a spiritual life from the physical, emotional, intellectual, social and spiritual level. The holistic development which can be seen as a true personality development, true leadership development, true life development. is what is explained by Patanjali in the Yoga Sutra. Understanding this is very, very, very basic requirement. This is a class as part of philosophy of Eastern philosophy from India. I thought I must touch upon the yoga philosophy. We will get into the other parts of Eastern philosophy, to the contemporary philosophy, to the modern philosophy, including Marx, including Lenin, including all the great writers of this world, from the traditional Indian heritage philosophy to the whole world philosophy as of now, on psychology, on religion, on education, on contemporary basis, how philosophies affect. Enjoy learning. Philosophy by word means philo and Sophie. The philo is love and the Sophie is knowledge. Philosophy is love for knowledge, and that is Darshana Shastra. Darshana Shastra is seeing what is of tomorrow. Darshanam is not what you can see with eye, what you can see from your inner eye, for which your mind has to be clean. So understanding the reality, understanding not the temporary reality, temporary happiness, understanding the ultimate reality in the ultimate sense, for which you have to be a clean person, for which your action has to be meditative and devotional. So the Yoga Shastra is the basic concept for gaining knowledge, and so that you will start loving your knowledge. Therefore, the philosophy of philosophy is enjoy learning, enjoy knowledge, and which is possible only when you reach into the yoga meditative style of learning. Don't learn it for a specific purpose. Learn it because you enjoy learning. You breathe because you cannot live without breathing. You eat because you cannot live without eating. You drink water because you cannot stay without drinking water. And you learn because you cannot stay in this world without learning. Understand this basic philosophy of learning. I'm sure you can enjoy life. You can enjoy learning. What is life? Live in full enjoyment. What is enjoyment? Learning in full enjoyment. Life. So learn in full enjoyment, not a temporary enjoyment, but a permanent enjoyment. God bless you.